Farfalletta, aspetta, aspetta, non volar con tanta fretta, far del mal non ti voglio, ferma, paga il visir mio, voglio lasciarti il cibo darti, dove meglio preservarti. Di cristallo stanza avrai e tranquillo ognor vivrai. L'alia ora discreziate so che aprilita ingemmate, che sei vaga, vispa e snella, fra i tuoi eguali la più bella. Ma Crimero è il mio tesoro, il fanciullo che amo e adoro, e a te pari vispo e snello, fra i suoi eguali egli è il più bello. Vo' carpirti adesso offrirti non più rose, gigli e mirti, ti fia caro il mio fanciullo, ed a lui sarai trastullo. Nell'aspetto e terzo petto, rose giglia il mio diletto, su dai scampa da perigli, non cercar più rose e gigli.
Good, thank you. Marcus, thank you for this. Ashani Kotage.
I'm 7 minutes late.
You know, I'm not sure we're ready for this crowd. Good afternoon, all of you. Welcome to you all. Please remain standing, if you don't mind, for the national anthem, the singing of Veni Creator, and the opening prayer. After the national anthem, the Reverend Mark Bosco of the Society of Jesus, Vice President for Mission and Ministry, will introduce the invocation. The national anthem will be led by Robert Susan of New Hampshire, Georgetown College of 2022. Please. Please join your voices with his.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
The Veni Creator Spiritus is one of the most widely used Roman Catholic hymns. Written about the 9th century, it is sung at Pentecost and has been used for centuries at other solemn assemblies, including the beginning and closing of the academic year. In this ancient hymn, we pray that God's Holy Spirit will fill our hearts with comfort, wisdom, and peace. The Veni Creator will be sung by members of the Georgetown University choral ensembles.
Veni Creator Spiritus, mentes tuorum visita, impes superna gratia, que tu creasti pectora, Deo Patris sit gloria, et Filio qui amor tuis, surrexit a Paraclito, in seculorum saecula. Amen.
And so for this senior convocation, we have asked two members of the class who represent the Protestant and Muslim students of Georgetown to lead the opening prayer and the closing benediction. For the opening prayer, I invite Mike Luzar of Connecticut, Georgetown College class of 2022, to the podium.
Please join me in prayer. Father God, we come before you today in joyous celebration of the accomplishments of the class of 2022 as we prepare for commencement. the beginning of a new journey off of the hilltop. We thank you for all of the dreams and visions that were able to be fulfilled over the past 4 years, and we recognize those who helped make these achievements possible. Family, friends, administrators, faculty, and staff. We also take this moment to acknowledge the enslaved, upon whose backs this university was built. We thank you, God, for Georgetown University, a university founded upon the tradition of cura personalis, for reminding us that we are divinely crafted, and that it is our responsibility to nurture not only our academic selves, but our physical, spiritual, and mental selves, so that we can better steward all the spaces that we enter. Allow us to use all that we have learned here on the hilltop to serve as agents of change, so that the world can experience your love through all that we do. We ask you this in your holy name, amen.
Please be seated. Members of the faculty and staff behind me, representatives of the Alumni Association, the Alumni Association, members of the graduating class, parents and families of the senior class. Long ago, on August 26, 2018, the new student convocation for the class of 2022 was held. Other students came as transfer students and experienced later convocations. You know, when you're on this podium looking down, you experience student convocations completely differently than if you're in the audience. On that day, 4 years ago roughly, I could see emotions running through the heads of new students. What is this event all about, they were asking. What kind of place have I come to where you put on your graduation robe before you've attended a single class? And all these other students I've met over the past few days, why does everyone seem smarter than I am? And do I? Did the admissions office make a mistake? So on that day, we were in McDonough Gymnasium, and on the side bleachers were families who are now outside the tent. And there were tissues blotting out the tears, anticipating the missing their beloved child, fearing both for their child and themselves, but also happy to witness a passage. Well, today is very, very different. But this event, in a way, is a companion, a bookend, if you will, for that first convocation. August of 2018. Think about how our world has changed. This class in front of us has persevered through unprecedented challenges. Many of the events we jointly experiences were tragedies. But you, this special class, preserved through it all. Zoom classes, physical separation from your classmates, remote contact with faculty, masks and COVID testing when you return. You are amazing. You have honored this university by your resilience that has led to your accomplishments that we collectively applaud today. So how is today's event different from August 2018's event? Today, I see families on the side. They're often in the sun, a little hot. They're looking forward to jumps in their discretionary income. They're thinking about a new home office where there was once a bedroom. Their fear of the unknown has been replaced by pure joy today in the visible signs of the success of their offspring. All of us today have a deep sense that this is one of those special moments in life when the preparation and sacrifice of many have led to an unambiguous payoff. And for those of you seated in front of me, instead of eyes looking like deer in headlights, I see different kinds of looks. Confident eyes, well, some a little bloodshot, but but eyes that are at ease, expectant, excited, justifiably proud, a little older, a little wiser, and if our faculty wishes were fulfilled, a little more centered on how each might give back to make a better world and truly be a person for others. These are all feelings worth calling to our attention, reflecting on them and being grateful for this moment. You, our graduates, achieved this state by exposure to repeated small stressors of incorporating new knowledge into your worldviews. Each course that you successfully conquered made you stronger. Each person different from you that you befriended gave you the empathy to understand others. The time in study groups with faculty discussing a course, up late at night in dorm rooms working on group projects, all of this paid off for you. Despite what you may have thought 4 years ago, you did it. You did it. So this convocation is a deliberate attempt to stop, just for a moment, the noise of this transition in your lives. It asks you to look back on the years you spent here, but also to look ahead, to consider the enduring gift that Georgetown seeks to be in your lives. Accompanying you on this journey were our faculty, represented by those behind me. There were others to push you. They were there to push you, convince you that you could do more, and to care about your formation. Today, in a way, is sort of a birthing day for them, and I know how deeply you appreciate their work on your behalf. President DeGioia, seated before you are the graduating classes of Georgetown College, the School of Nursing and Health Studies, the Walsh School of Foreign Service, the McDonough School of Business, and the School of Continuing Studies. They represent 49 of the United States, and as the flags that you see flanking them, 56 other nations, 38 from China, 20 from South Korea, 14 from the United Kingdom, 11 each from Spain, India, Mexico, and France, 10 each from Canada and Italy, 5 from Saudi Arabia, 4 from Greece, 3 each from Australia, Brazil, Colombia, Germany, Philippines, Thailand, and Turkey, 2 each from El Salvador, Ireland, Japan, Lebanon, Pakistan, and Pakistan, and Singapore, and finally one each from 32 other countries. Collectively, these students have received over $104 million in scholarship support from Georgetown. They've won highly competitive graduate fellowships, including 1 Healy, 1 All-Britain, 1 Goldwater, 8 Rains, and 19 Fulbrights. Some of them will enter military service after the commencement, 17 of them into the United States Army, 3 into the United States Air Force, and 3 into the Navy. Eight graduates of the class of 2022 have committed to a year of service with the Jesuit Volunteer Corps next year. At Georgetown, they have taken 67,143 courses. They have earned nearly 200,000 credit hours. The youngest among them is 20, the oldest among them is 31. They have contributed to more than 160 performances in music, theater, and dance, plus 31 faculty-led and student-led performing arts groups. Seniors in the performing arts experience audience attendance of 200,000 patrons. A 117 members of this class served in community engagement leadership positions through the Center for Social Justice with DC Reads and STEM DC's school project, home and ask service projects. 214 seniors have participated in one or more of 30 Georgetown varsity teams. These athletes have earned more than 200 academic honors. They've won 12 league regular season and 15 tournament championships. They've participated in 32 league championships, 16 postseason NCAA tournaments, earned more than 100 all-league athletic honors, and at least 40 All-American honors. So President DeGioia, here they are, 1,692 strong, Georgetown's class of 2022. Now, if you may, I ask you to stand for a few moments. We pause now to remember one of your classmates, Ying Ying Mei, School of Foreign Service, class of 2022. She was given every gift but the gift of time. In her memory, we will now observe a moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. At the new student convocation in August 2018, the program started with a speech by that year's McTie speaker, Emilio Joubert, a senior in Georgetown College. His speech, as some of you may recall, was designed to offer a glimmering of what was ahead for a first-year student. At today's convocation, we also begin with student speakers. We have not one, but two of the most accomplished of your fellow seniors to share with you the richness of their Georgetown experience. Ashani Kotage, Ashani Kotage of Sri Lanka is graduating from the Walsh School of Foreign Service with a major in science, technology, and international affairs, and a minor in theater and performance studies. At Georgetown, she's been active in the nomadic theater and has both danced in and choreographed for Rangila. A Carroll Fellow, she has been elected to both Alpha Sigma Nu and Phi Beta Kappa. She was chosen as the McTighe speaker for the 2020 New Student Convocation, and in the fall of 2021 was a finalist for the Global Rhodes Scholarship. After graduation, she will return to Georgetown as a research analyst for the Earth Commons Institute and the Laboratory for Global Performance and Politics. Ashani.
Utrakwe Unem means both as one. First found in St. Paul's letter to the Ephesians regarding Gentiles and Jews together on coins of the Spanish Empire. And later, in 1844, as Georgetown University's motto, referring to the unity of learning and faith. But what does it mean today to hold two things at the same time, particularly two contrasting things at the same time? My home, Sri Lanka, is full of all sorts of contradictions just like this. We call our beloved local fried snacks short eats, although when you start eating them, it is long before you stop. We have demarcated traffic lanes, but the point is to avoid staying between the lines. And we have the lion on our national flag, our beer cans, our uniforms. Not a single one has roamed the island for thousands of years. And I consider myself one of the island's many contradictions. In the commercial city of Colombo, where I was born and raised, I was hidden from the 26-year-long civil war. But it wasn't hidden from me. I saw it in the eyes of my Tamil friends who always had their passports handy, in the scrutinizing nod of army officers every couple kilometers, and in the huddles around a candle during curfew. I was both sheltered from and exposed to what made my home home: conflict, resilience, and survival. In my house, I was Nangi, younger sister, very different from my Ayya, older brother. I was reminded that I was a woman in the nation that gave the world their first female prime minister. But I was still a woman, one who wasn't allowed to attend university, have her own ambition or voice. I was what has been, what could be, and what may never be again, all at the same time. Utrakwe Unem. And similarly, Georgetown has also been a contradiction. It is the first American university to hire a full-time Muslim chaplain, open a Dharmalaya on its campus, and have such an empowered LGBTQ plus community on a Catholic space. A space taken from the Piscataway and Nacotchtank people. In Gaston Hall, under the Jesuit seal, the classical invocation to Lord Ganesha is performed at Rangila. Jesuits played a crucial role in the Inquisition of Goa that demolished Hindu temples and converted non-Christian children. Georgetown is where I met one of my best friends, Chase Chester. Chase is a descendant of Louisa Mahoney Mason, one of the 272 plus people that Georgetown enslaved. This university is where I read every reading, performed on every stage, aced every exam, well, except quant last week, sought out mentors, fellowships, and club positions, because if I didn't, as a first-generation foreign woman of color, I was afraid I wouldn't be seen, heard, or trusted. This university is 50% white in its faculty and student body. So, as graduation neared, I've been trying to reconcile this duality. Struggling to pick a side, am I ashamed or proud? And I realized that this duality is irreconcilable. To go to Georgetown is in fact a contradiction. Utraque unem. It is what makes me and you a Hoya. Refusing to appease or reconcile, learning to live with both sides of the story, and refusing to let good be enough. As Hoyas, we can never be too proud because there's always more to unlearn, undo, heal, and grow. And we can never be too ashamed because here we are, regalia and all, exceptional excellence. Now a part of Georgetown's history, legacy, and contradiction. And we can never be too tired because there's always another dream to chase, a skill to learn, but crucially, a community to serve. Which brings me back to my community. Right now, Sri Lanka is experiencing a severe economic and political crisis. There's a scarcity of fuel, food, and medicine, island-wide protests, and now government-incited violence. But it is also beautiful beaches, music, poetry, and the best damn crab you will ever have. It is the thousands of people protesting right now for justice and a better future. Just like all of you, in Red Square, at the Supreme Court, and in our classrooms. Which reminds me why Utraque Unem is so important. It is not just so we can hold both as one, but also so we can hold each other as one. In Red Square, at the Supreme Court, in our classrooms, and now beyond. So, to Georgetown, to the class of 2022, thank you for teaching me how to hold both as one. Thank you for holding me, and Hoya Saxa.
Thank you, Ashani. Jordan Kramer of Texas will graduate from Georgetown College with a major in biology. From the beginning of her freshman year, she's been a researcher in the medical school laboratory of Dr. Richard Schlegel, the inventor of the life-transforming HPV vaccine. A Carroll Fellow, she was elected to Phi Beta Kappa in her junior year. In 2021, she was awarded a treasured Goldwater Scholarship established by Congress to recognize and support the country's next generation of leaders in science, engineering, and mathematics. In the fall of 2021, she was a finalist for the Rhodes Scholarship. She has been awarded Georgetown's All Britain Scholarship, which she will use to begin a doctorate in pediatrics at Oxford University. There at Oxford, she will also be supported by a highly sought-after Clarendon Scholarship. After completing her studies at Oxford, she will return to the United States for medical school. Jordan.
One of my favorite scientific concepts has always been that of entropy. Simply put, the principle of entropy states that unless we put energy into a system, all things in the universe will turn to disorder. My roommates observe this principle in action every time they look at my room, and we all experience entropy every day. If we don't put in the time to fix them, things grow more disorganized. Dishes collect in the sink, weeds grow in the garden. Nothing ever stays the way we leave it. This perpetual state of disorder is not a mistake or an error in the system. It is the default setting. The idea of entropy might feel intrinsically hopeless, but it shouldn't. In a world without entropy, nothing would ever change. We would not experience failure. We would not watch things shatter or break. But a world without this failure and without this brokenness would be a world without progress, without growth, and without innovation. As Georgetown students, we set our minds to improving the world around us. At this university, we study game theory, we research political systems, we look for ways to cure disease. We do everything in our power to bring this disorder, this chaos, this confusion under our control. The existence of perpetual entropy drives us to become agents of change. As we graduate, we confront enormous challenges. In just our past 4 years of college, we've experienced a global pandemic, an attempted insurrection, and unprecedented natural disasters. We face wars just an ocean away, and a changing climate that is threatening to bring entire cities underwater. If we let them, these problems can overwhelm us. But when we take the time to learn from our failures and to embrace the chaos that surrounds us, we create a space for creativity and for innovation. The structures that we build will inevitably fall apart. And in turn, we get the chance to build newer and better systems. When we let go of our fear of failure and of chaos, we can dare to imagine the world as we want to see it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. At the 2018 New Student Convocation, we also offered you some words of guidance from a member of the faculty. You've heard from quite a few faculty members since that day, I would guess. So at this concluding ceremony, we have instead asked a member of our extended Georgetown family to address you. He speaks on behalf of all those Georgetown classes who've gone before you into the world as people for others. Luke Schoenfelder graduated from Georgetown College in 2012. During his undergraduate years, he helped create the Green Revolving Loan Fund to support clean development projects on campus, while working also in public policy at Apple. He became the 19th student in Georgetown's history to win a Marshall Scholarship as a result of his field work following the 2010 earthquake in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. He used the Marshall support to pursue graduate studies at Imperial College London. In 2013, he started Latch, a full building operating system of software, products, and services designed to make apartments better places to live, work, and visit. Today, more than 100,000 apartments in the US are powered by Latch technology. Latch's current partnerships include Apple, Google, and the Matter Consortium. Luke also holds over 100 pending or granted patents in topics ranging from physical product design to augmented reality. Continuing his connection to his alma mater, Luke now serves on the advisory board of the McCourt School of Public Policy. Luke.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the extremely kind introduction. It is an honor to be here today to celebrate this momentous occasion with all of you. You have lived through one of the strangest and most challenging times in memory, and you and your families have sacrificed so much to make this moment possible. Thank you for letting me be a part of your celebration. 10 years ago, I was asked to give this opening convocation address as a student. As a rather self-assured 23-year-old, it felt perfectly natural that the world would want to hear my very wise thoughts. Now, as a 33-year-old, I find myself approaching this opportunity with a certain amount of trepidation, reflecting on what I said then and the snapshots of life that have passed since I was last here. What I realized in my reflection is that each of our lives can be summarized as a sentence, a collection of nouns and verbs that make up our stories. There is no doubt that receiving your Georgetown noun today is going to be a meaningful part of your sentence for the rest of your life. And I can tell you that it still is for me. But I can also tell you that when I receive an introduction like the one that you just heard, sentences filled with proud nouns, very few people consider what my anti-biography would be. A full biography would highlight that I've been a failure at almost everything. I've been an educational failure. I nearly failed out of 2 high schools, and I attended 2 other colleges before transferring to Georgetown. I've been a professional failure. I've crashed and burned at no fewer than 5 ventures. 5, since I was sitting here last time. I have been a personal failure, including substance abuse as a teenager, depression, and loneliness in many periods of my life. Now those failures have been glossed over. I've dined with presidents, drank with royalty, rang the bell at NASDAQ, read my name in the world's biggest newspapers, and been on TV quite a few times. You could have taken a snapshot at any one of my failure noun moments or at any one of my proud noun moments and said, that is who I am. Most people focus on these snapshots, the nouns and the sentences that represent each of our lives for identity and for meaning. But the reality is that nouns are just artifacts, powerless themselves. The schools we went to, the jobs we've had, the awards we've won, they all make up a list of proud nouns that we use to define ourselves and signal to the world about who we are. Each of us here today has a set of those nouns. But what I've learned through a lot of mistakes and failures is that the verbs that underpin these nouns are what actually matter. I have 3 brief anecdotes to share about this interplay. For the first tale about nouns and mistakes, let's go to Haiti in the summer of 2011, where I am prototyping a new type of modular home based on some NASA research from the 1970s. After years of work, we'd partnered with Habitat for Humanity to build a prototype in Haiti, hoping to prove out a new type of affordable and sustainable construction. In addition to the plastic materials we were using for the walls, we decided that we'd build the roof out of structural bamboo. All of my research pointed to this as the answer. It was strong and it was sustainable. But when we presented the bamboo plan to our local partners, they protested. They said basically, through translators, that building with bamboo was a mistake. Of course, this wouldn't be a good story if I listened to the local construction experts. I didn't listen. Because I was high on my own noun supply, Georgetown, Habitat for Humanity, NASA technology, I had the answers because of those nouns. Who did these people think they were? And so I decided to move forward with a bamboo roof. It took us a few days to complete the structure, and within hours of finishing, an insect I had never seen before or since showed up and started feasting on the bamboo roof. It turns out that by splitting the bamboo and exposing its interior, I had inadvertently prepared a sweet bamboo bug buffet, and now we were serving a lot of happy customers. Bite by bite, the roof was disintegrating before my eyes. After watching the roof get destroyed, thoroughly embarrassing the host family that was sponsoring the project, and blowing through my construction budget, it was obvious that I'd made the wrong call. Why did I fail? I let my arrogance about my own nouns overrule the knowledge of actual experts, knowledge built through verbs, on the ground, in the context of where we were. While trusting in nouns over verbs is never a good idea, believing in the power of my own nouns was a real act of hubris that doomed this project. For my second tale about nouns and failure, let's go to New York City. Having failed with modular construction, I did the entrepreneur thing and had my next big idea, building a new type of smart electricity meter. This product was designed to help expand the power grids in emerging markets. I was trying to raise my first financing, and I got connected to a group of investors that were some serious noun folks, fancy degrees, experience with real companies, and even a track record of backing other Georgetown entrepreneurs. These investors took me to one of the trendiest restaurants in the country, invited one of their celebrity friends and his entourage, all to close a deal with me. As the beverages flowed, the chef's tasting menu arrived, and the skyline twinkled in the background, I was convinced I was on the path to becoming a 24-year-old tech millionaire. It seemed pretty sweet. The investors wired in their money a few weeks after the dinner. We built our first engineering prototypes, recruited a very junior but very eager team, and we were off to the races. Things were busy, but they were good. So one afternoon, I took a quick break to read some news, and I caught a red letter headline: 34 people arrested in FBI money laundering and sports betting sting. I clicked the article and started reading. What I thought would be an entertaining diversion quickly became a frightening reality. As I scanned the opening paragraphs, I realized, I know that person, I know that person, I know that person. Turns out, my high-flying investors had been arrested in the sting, caught up in a global web of backroom dealings, betting, and money laundering. Fast forward a couple of months, and the FBI had frozen their assets, paralyzed our ability to move forward as a business. I dissolved my team in disgrace and failure. I was feeling pretty low, and I was sleeping on friends' couches as a 24-year-old non-tech millionaire. It all happened so fast, and it felt pretty dramatic. As it turns out, it actually was pretty dramatic. Aaron Sorkin would go on to dramatize these broader events in the 2017 film Molly's Game. The movie was pretty good, but living through it was pretty terrible. So what did I learn from this failure? I had once again been suckered in by the nouns. While at least this time they weren't my own, the deference to fancy investors, fancy schools, and fancy celebrities was a distraction that led to my failure. So for the last story, I want to talk about verbs. I grew up on a farm in Pennsylvania. It was there that I saw the power of verbs for the first time: feeding the cows, repairing things, harvesting crops. At that time, we were a family of 4 living in a 1-bedroom apartment. My dad's job was delivering pizzas for Pizza Hut as he worked on finishing his degree. It was a pretty great job because in addition to tips, he got to bring all the mistake pizzas, customer pizzas made with the wrong toppings, home after his shift. I grew up waiting for my dad to come home to eat mistake pizza and having the verbs he embodied imprinted on my mind. Because I saw him delivering, studying, loving us in a multi-year cycle to build a better life. That childhood experience, watching my dad as a delivery person, had faded to the back of my mind over the next 20 years. But it came rushing back to me in 2018 as Latch, the company I started, decided to remake the building intercom. Super exciting. You know that big old thing with metal buttons on the front of a building that buzzes in deliveries and guests? We needed to update that. And as I thought about the design for this product, I realized that we needed to focus on the delivery people who would actually use it, instead of the building owners who bought it. So instead of including the most advanced technology in the product, we focused on a super boring feature: metal buttons. While others had designed smart intercoms before, they weren't built for the people that use them because they relied on touchscreens. If you were designing this product in a vacuum, a touchscreen would make sense. But in the real world, delivery people wear gloves. So we designed our intercom so that a delivery person could operate it without taking off their gloves. It's a small thing, but it meant we could save the delivery driver probably 15 seconds every time they went to one of our buildings. Now you may be asking, how meaningful could designing metal buttons really be? Well, actually it is really meaningful. With 15 seconds of savings per stop, 50 stops in a day, 50 weeks a year, that's 40 hours of time. An entire week of time saved, hopefully meaning more time for family and for other things, just because of 4 metal buttons. I tell you this story because soon you're likely going to work at your first real job. And my hunch is that you're going to get assigned to work on something as seemingly meaningless as designing metal buttons. You don't usually get a fancy noun for this type of work, but the verbs that go into those metaphorical buttons and the verbs they enable in the world are what actually matter. While your life can include a long list of nouns, I've seen that it is always the verbs that actually push the world forward, sometimes in small ways and sometimes in big ways. See the value in working on metal buttons. In closing, this is a weird moment for many of us and for me too. The snapshots of this time are so strange and so intense. In fact, even these past few weeks have been some of the most difficult of my life, but we're going to get through it together. The choice that we have now is how we live going forward. Do we focus on the nouns or do we focus on the verbs? After today, each of you has the opportunity to rest on your Georgetown noun, to rest on your other nouns, and surround yourself with noun people. I beg you not to do that. Nouns are at best incomplete, and at worst, outright lies. Don't fall for nouns the way that I have in the last decade. They don't actually make the world a better, happier, or more interesting place. Only verbs do that. We owe the world the power of our verbs, the best we're capable of, because that's what actually matters. I could go on, but honestly, you should enjoy everything about your Georgetown noun this weekend. But please, get out there after that and go verb something. Thank you all very much. Congratulations to everyone on this momentous day.
Thank you, Luke. That was wonderful. We come now to the moment in which you as graduates move as a class from being students to becoming alumni. And to initiate that change, I invite Ms. Julia Farr, Georgetown College class of 1988, Executive Director of Georgetown University Alumni Association, to come to the podium.
Thank you, Dr. Groves. At the new student convocation, you were a group of individuals from different high schools, different states, and even different countries. You remain citizens of those states and countries, but something was added to your identity during that ceremony. You put on your academic gowns in unison to symbolize the journey you are about to take together here on the hilltop. Since then, your shared experiences have transformed you into a community of Hoyas who call Georgetown home. And even though you'll be leaving the hilltop in 3 short days, you will exit as the class of 2022, a tight-knit community that will remain a part of Georgetown forever. The 2022 Alumni Class Committee, headed by David Gutierrez of California, School of Foreign Service Class of 2022, and Brooke Murphy of New Jersey, McDonough School of Business Class of 2022, will be your link to Georgetown and to the Alumni Association through the numerous regional clubs, annual homecoming, and even those 5-year reunions, which now seem so impossibly remote and will be here much sooner than you can even believe. These and other opportunities supported by the Alumni Association will ensure that you maintain the bonds that you have forged here and that you will never forget what a glorious thing it is to be a Hoya. Students, please stand. At the new student convocation, as a sign of your matriculation as students, you were given the academic gowns that you now wear, Georgetown's first gift to you, the first of many gifts that we celebrate here today as you make the transformation from students to alumni. Please take out the pins you were handed as you entered, but don't put them on yet. These are the official signs of your induction into the Georgetown alumni community, joining over 200,000 alumni who have come before you in their commitment to Georgetown. Accept the pin then as a symbol. See it as a sign that even though you will leave campus soon, you will be Georgetown's sons and daughters forever. And never forget that to be an alumnus of Georgetown means a lifelong commitment to the highest ideals of leadership and service to the nation and to the world. Fellow alumni, as a sign of your continuing unity as members of the class of 2022, please pin yourselves. I now invite all our guests to rise and join Georgetown's newest alumni class in singing Georgetown's alma mater. The words and music can be found at the back of your program. The alma mater will be led by your classmate, Isabella Turilli of Virginia, School of Foreign Service class of 2022.
Georgetown alma mater, swift Potomac's lovely daughter, ever watching by the water, smiles on us today. Now her children gather round her, lo, with garlands they have crowned her, reverent hands and fond enwound her with the blue and gray. Wave her colors ever, furl her standard never, but raise it high and proudly cry, may Georgetown live forever. Where Potomac's tide is streaming from her spires and steeples beaming, see the grand old banner gleaming, Georgetown's blue and gray.
Please be seated. Thank you. To inaugurate a lifetime of giving back to Alma Mater, who has given so much to all of us, I now invite David Gutierrez of California, School of Foreign Service class of 2022, and Preet Rajpal of New York, Walsh School of Foreign Service 2022, to present your senior class gift. Thank you. David.
We would first like to thank all the members of the Class of 2022 Fund Board: Rhodia Eid, May Forshi, Connor Jones, Grace Lillianwall, Julia Sackman, Alawi Mohammed Youssef, and of course our advisor, Murphy Kate Delaney. Without their hard work, dedication, and passion for Georgetown throughout the entire year, this effort would not have been possible. But most of all, thank you, all 1,357 Hoyas of the Class of 2022 who have chosen to make a gift through the Class of 2022 Senior Fund. You all have played a key role in the success of the class of our 2022 fund and the effort to build and maintain our class's legacy at Georgetown. This year, as a result of achieving 1,357 donors and hitting 80.2% participation, the Board of Regents has matched our giving on a percentage basis for an additional $80,000. Commitment to enhance the experiences of current and future Hoyas on the Hilltop. We are deeply grateful to the Regents who participated in the match, and on behalf of the Class of 2022, we thank you.
Georgetown is a living tradition of the highest commitment to leadership and service, of which all of us Hoyas are a part. During our years as Hoyas thus far, we have taken part in that tradition as students. Now, as alumni, we begin to share the responsibility of keeping this tradition alive beyond the Hilltop by living up to the principles and values of our Georgetown education, and by giving to the Hilltop through our time, talents, and resources. In this spirit of Georgetown, and with profound gratitude for all that the Hilltop has given us, we now ask that President DeGioia to join us at the podium. President DeGioia, as co-chairs of the Class of 2022 Fund, and on behalf of our class, it is our privilege and our pleasure to present to you this check for $162,489.52 as the Class of 2022 Senior Gift to Georgetown. May Georgetown live forever. Hoya Saxa.
Well, thank you, David. Thank you, Preet, for your leadership on our senior class fund board. And to each member of the class of 2022, thank you for your participation, your support of this gift. Your generosity demonstrates an extraordinary commitment to Georgetown, to sustaining the legacy of scholarship and service that has animated our community for generations, and to ensuring that future generations are able to seek, as you have, to engage in the work of formation here at our university. And for this, we're grateful to each of you. I want to thank you, and thank you all for being here this afternoon. It's a privilege to be here with all of you as we officially begin our commencement activities. I wish to thank our student speakers, Ashani and Jordan, for sharing such thoughtful reflections, and to express our appreciation to our alumnus, Luke Schoenfelder, for sharing his stories with us and for offering his words of inspiration on this special occasion for our community. Throughout this weekend, you'll have the opportunity to reflect upon the remarkable journey you've made during your time here as Georgetown students, on the ways in which you've grown, on the knowledge that you've acquired and deepened, of the relationships that you have forged, and on the vision you've begun to develop for the life you wish to lead, the impact you wish to make. It may seem like only yesterday when your journey began, when you first stepped on our campus, or when we held our new student convocation to inaugurate your time here at Georgetown. You may have been full of excitement, full of questions, even a little anxiety about what lay ahead. As we gather today, well, you may be feeling many of these same emotions again. That excitement, but a sense of trepidation for the journey ahead. Well, hold on to your excitement and trust that you have developed the abilities and the self-knowledge that will sustain you as you move into your futures. Already you have encountered and responded to great challenges and done so as a community with care and support for one another. During your years here, you've acquired knowledge that is both expansive and deep, knowledge of your chosen area of focus, knowledge of yourself, knowledge of how you can engage the world around you. In moments of both quiet reflection and engaged discussion, you've developed an understanding of your strengths and how you can best meet challenges, a sense of what brings you the most meaning, what is authentic to you, what truly matters to you. Today we celebrate this journey and the one that you are about to embark. This is an extraordinary moment in your lives. There's nothing else quite like it. And I encourage you to reflect on all that you have achieved together as a class, all that it means to be a part of this Georgetown community, and trust in the person that you have become. So now, members of the Georgetown class of 2022, in the culminating event of this convocation, let's make this official. I ask you to rise to be admitted to the ceremonies of commencement. As president of Georgetown University, it is my great pleasure to admit the members of the class of 2022 to the ceremonies of commencement. These ceremonies, beginning today, continue through tomorrow and Saturday with the trapayas and the conferring of degrees by our schools, and they conclude on Sunday, the 22nd of May, with the Baccalaureate Mass. Members of the Georgetown class of 2022, your moment is at hand. Congratulations.
Lie down, forever lie down. Or have you any money to bet? Lie down, forever lie down. There goes old Georgetown, straight for a touchdown. See how they gain ground. Lie down, forever lie down. Lie down, forever lie down. Oh, rah, 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 hurrah for Georgetown. Cheer for victory today. Ere the sun is sunk to rest in the cradle of the west, in the clouds will proudly float the blue and gray. We've heard those loyal fellows up at Yale brag and boast about their boola boola. We've heard the Navy yell, we've listened to Cornell, we've heard the sons of Harvard tell how crimson lines could hold them. Choo choo rah rah, dear to Holy Cross. The proud old Princeton Tiger is never at a loss, but the yell of all the yells, the yell that wins the day, is the Hoya Hoya Saxa for the dear old blue and gray.
We've never had that before. I wonder if all of us could stand for the benediction, which will be offered by Ferdusi Udine of New Jersey School of Foreign Service class of 2022.
In the name of God, the most merciful, the beneficent. And if you count the blessings of God, never will you be able to count them. In this Quranic verse, we learn that every interaction and experience that we have been blessed with, seen or unseen, led to this beautiful day in which we can reflect and celebrate our growth and achievements together. I congratulate the graduating class for reaching this milestone in their lives. Georgetown was blessed to have students like you, and I know as students, we were blessed to study at an institution like this. So let us pray. O God, O Almighty, all praise is due to you and you alone for letting us reach this momentous occasion. For this would not be possible without your doing and your will. O the glorious and the bounteous one, bestow your favor on all those present today and those afar who have carried us to this day, and allow them to share in this joy and success now and in the years to come. O the giver of gifts and the provider of all things, you are worthy of all the praise and gratitude for our countless blessings. Please continue to enrich us as we embark on this new chapter in our lives, and empower us to use our gifts wisely and in service to others. O the just and the most honorable, grant us the courage to use our voices in the fight for justice and peace, and allow us to commit ourselves to the common good of all. O the light and the illuminator, allow us to be a light in each other's lives, light in each other's hearts, and a beacon of light wherever we go. Lord, be praised with an abundant, beautiful, blessed praise, a never-ending praise, a praise which we will never bid farewell to, and an indispensable praise. Amen.
Please remain standing in your places until the academic procession has recessed. Thank you especially to the musicians, to our speakers, to our guests, including those who are watching remotely through our webcast. The exercises of the Senior Class Convocation 2022 are now officially at an end, and commencement has officially begun.
4-foot rectangular table? What do you want of that?
I don't know. What does that say?
They said by the flow translation.
It'll probably go back here in the center. That's usually where it goes.
Okay, all right.
That one is my hardest ceremony, so I'm on that one. One down.
open.